Welcome back to RSN Central. You're with Gareth Hall. Adam Hamilton joins me now for Gate Speed, thanks to Harness Racing Victoria and the Victorian Harness Racing Club. Hello to you, Adam.
Morning, Gareth. Why don't we get straight to it? Everyone wants to know what the field is for this Tab Rising Sun, and David Brick from Racing Queensland, the man behind this, and he deserves a huge pat on the back for creating this race. He's about to join us to give us the final field, Gareth.
He's a genius, David Brick, and he joins us now. G'day, Bricky.
G'day, gents. How are we? Plenty of people involved in this one, so but happy to bring the news with the field, that's for sure.
All right, mate. Tell us who's in this year's, the first ever running of the Rising Sun.
Okay, from the top, and this is in alphabetical order: Amazing Dream, Black Sedan, Bundoran, Copy That, Punch Time, Expensive Ego, Cashed Up, the first 3-year-old into the field, Kowalski Analysis, Krug, the other 3-year-old, Mac Da Vinci, Bend It, Spirit of St. Louis, and the emergency is I Like Me Better. So there you have it, the 13 runners, or 13 including the emergency.
No real surprises there, I don't think, Adam. But, Bricky, how important was it to get the 2 3-year-olds in that race? Cashed Up joining Krug, of course.
Yeah, look, we thought it was important. Obviously, we wanted to make sure that they warranted their run, but I think how Cashed Up went behind Krug and Redcliffe Derby recently, and then obviously won on Saturday night. He'd been in the key lead-up races, so I think he deserved his crack at it. And given the race was for 3 and 4-year-olds, we certainly wanted, where possible, to get two in there, and we think we've got 2 good 3-year-olds there. So I think that certainly creates a bit of interest ahead of the barrier draw tonight, and obviously ahead of the race on Saturday.
Bricky, barrier draw 6:30 tonight, live on Sky Racing 2. So just for those who don't know, the 3-year-olds, the first part of the draw will be between the 3-year-olds who gets barriers 1 and 2. They must get those 2 barrier draws. And just looking through, so the only mare in it is Amazing Dream, so she will draw barrier 3 then.
That's right, correct. That's right. And then after that, obviously, it'll be a random draw amongst the other horses. So it's exactly how it'll play out tonight, but certainly some interest in 1 and 2 as to how the 2 3-year-olds draw. I should also probably mention that we are putting on at this stage a consolation, given the strength of the noms. Obviously, be some connections who might be disappointed missing out. We understand that, but there will be a consolation on the night at this point in time. So something for those connections to aim for as well.
It's a good place. It's a good spot to be in when you've got disappointed connections not getting a start, because that means the races work for mine anyway. Bricky, has it exceeded your expectations, especially with the momentum that it's built just from outside of, say, your home state there of Queensland?
Yeah, look, I think so. I think, one of the aims of the board up here was to generate 5 iconic racing events or races across the 3 codes. And so from a harness code point of view, we put our heads together as to what we thought could work. And we certainly identified early days the 4-year-olds as the up-and-comers, but obviously the 3-year-olds added that bit of intrigue to the race. So, yeah, look, we'd sort of, to some degree, whether the 3-year-olds would go into the race and whether we could get the best 4-year-olds in Australia was something we targeted, and we're really pleased with the field that we've pulled together. So, and as you said, I think the other element was just creating that bit of discussion and opinions. I think that's an important part of racing, and so it's been good to see connections, but also other people throw that out in the ring to try and pick the field, and we think we've pulled together a pretty good one for this year, and we'll certainly review that afterwards. But no, it's been pleasing to see.
Stay with us, Bricky. They're set here at Warrnambool. Here's Ronnie Hawksville.
90. Green light set to go. Warrnambool race 3. They're set 390 the journey. They're set. Racing. Got a bit tired to begin there. All and Scooby showing pace after the start. There was safety about wide. It went whipping around the outside. All and Scooby now second, about 4 or 5 lengths away. They were followed then by Mola Frost, who's third. Over on the inside, funny enough, followed by Chasing Summer. Well back here would have been at the tail of the field. There's Zipping Buzz and also Gypsy Warrior. Up the straight, Sophie on the outside, taking the lead down. And Sophie comes away to beat All and Scooby. About 8 lengths away, third in the race there. It'd be funny enough, and they were followed behind them then by Patricia Mary, Zipping Buzz. Next then came Mola Frost. They were followed then by Chasing Summer and Gypsy Warrior. Time is showing around 22 $2.63.
So 6, 7, 2 and 4. Sophie for Kevin Quinn, $3.50, $1.50. Defeats a 7. All in Scooby, $1.50. Third, the 2, funny enough, at $1.70. Dividends there from the first at Yarra Valley. Captain McCraw, the 2, $3.60, $1.30. The 7, Majestic Jules, second, $1.90. Third was the 6, Sugar High, no third dividend. Fourth was the favourite, He's the Mighty Spin after galloping. Quinella, $9.30. Exacta, $11.80. Trifecta, $242 even. And the first 4, $369.80. Gareth Hall, Adam Hamilton with you for Gate Speed as we talk some harness racing now on RSN Central. Our special guest is the boss of harness racing in Queensland, David Brick, and he's just announced the field for the Rising Sun. I'll go through them once again. Amazing Dream, Black and Dance, Bundoran, copied that, Crunch Time, Expensive Ego, Cashed Up, Kowalski Analysis, Krug, Mac Da Vinci, Send It, and Spirit of St. Louis. I Like Me Better is the emergency. Bricky, so Saturday night over the 2100 metres should be a terrific race, but it's not just the Rising Sun. I think it just builds wonderful momentum towards, say, the Blacks Are Fake and the Oaks and the Derby coming up in the next couple of weeks as well.
Yes, agreed. And look, Saturday night we'll get to see King of Swing go around again. Looks these are the noms for the other one of the other features on the night. Spankham goes around again and Colt 31, so we've certainly got a really good free-for-all on the night. The Trotters go around again in the second round of heats to the DJA, and as you said, as we move forward, there's still the Oaks Derby and the Blacks Are Fake, and of course next week the Golden Girl and Sunshine Sprint. And we're well aware there's other horses still on their way to Queensland and others within Queensland targeting those races. So, look, this is really just the start of the carnival. I think it's going to get pretty deep as we move towards the Blacks Are Fake in just over a fortnight's time.
Just one quick one from me, Bricky, before we let you go. I know it's a new race, and you said you'll review it all afterwards and that, but I guess one relevant point that was raised amongst the many discussions on social media is there a potential to run the Derby before the race so that the Derby winner could get a ticket in, or does that disrupt the carnival as far as potentially putting the Rising Sun too close to a Blacks Are Fake?
It's a good discussion point, Adam, and certainly one we're willing to have. Look, it was interesting last year when we didn't run the event. We actually invited Line-Up to the event at the time. I remember having a chat with Anthony Butt about it. And when we indicated the Derby, I think at that stage we might have had it the week after the Rising Sun. He said, look, I'm keen on it, but I'm just know that might be a bit of an issue. Hence we made a bit of a change this year where we tried to separate them by a fortnight, so it came one at the start and one at the end. But it is that sort of tricky mix of trying to be able to make sure that there's paths for both your free-for-all or 4-year-olds heading to the Blacks Are Fake, but also the Derby horses. So whether it's right this year or not, we'll certainly review that. I think it's a good point, but it's, as you said, it's probably the different pieces of the puzzle. It's a bit also like where does the Golden Girl go in conjunction with the Rising Sun as well, because we want to give the 4-year-old mares a chance. So it's certainly it's not just changing one race. There are others that are impacted by it, but certainly welcome the feedback from participants as to what works best.
Loving what you're doing up there in Queensland. Bricky, thinking outside of the square with the trot rods and this new race like the Rising Sun, I think you're kicking plenty of goals. And I'm not just saying this because you're on this show. But there's a question coming through from Paul from Ballarat. David, what about the remote broadcast for the Blacks Are Fake? I don't know where Paul is going with this question, but can you help me out?
Oh, which is he talking about your show?
I don't know. He might be. He might be. That's yeah. So Blacks Are Fake. That's going to be bigger and better than ever, isn't it?
Well, it will be. I'd love to see you up there. Hopefully, we've got the borders sorted by then. Yep. COVID looks like it's heading in the right direction. But certainly, look, we're keen to get as much media up there as we can. So if your show's able to make the trip up, I know Paul's on his way. I'm pretty sure Paul is. That's come from, but anyway, but it might be great to have you in town if you're able to make it up. That's for sure. I'm
booking the flights now, Bricky. I can't wait to get up there. Just with the COVID situation, do you think that maybe you'll be able to have decent crowds there, or is it just a day-to-day proposition at the moment up there as well?
Yeah, look, we'll certainly certainly be able to have crowds at this point in time. There will be some restrictions, obviously, in terms of people per square meterage and so forth. But I think given there's certainly plenty of ground space there at Albion Park, the club's putting a lot of effort into increasing those areas for patrons. So I think we'll certainly be able to accommodate the crowd that wants to come along. There will be some restrictions in place, we're pretty sure, at least for the next fortnight. Hopefully things continue in the same direction, which will mean there's less restrictions come, particularly Blacks to Fake night. So, but crowds certainly welcome on Saturday night, as you said, providing everything continues in the right direction.
Great stuff, Bricky. Thanks very much for joining us. There's David Brick from Harness Racing Queensland with the Rising Sun for Gareth Hall, Adam Hamilton, and now Robbie Orber with you for Gate Speed. It's a good afternoon to you, Rob.
Yeah, good afternoon, gents. Interesting listening to David Brick. Fantastic field. Can't wait for the barrier draw tonight, and it looks to be a very special few weeks coming up in Queensland.
Adam, did they get the field right for the Rising Sun?
Oh, look, I think you're always going to have different opinions on whether they did or not. I know there was a lot of talk about the value of getting more than a couple of 3-year-olds into it, but that's a balancing act because the 3-year-olds want to run because they're guaranteed good barrier draws, and these two are going to get barriers 1 and 2. I'm not sure it makes a lot of difference as far as whether Krug gets 1 or 2. You wouldn't imagine that Cashed Up would want to keep Krug out if he was drawn right next to him. So it's a fascinating race. Copy That really announced himself on Saturday night. Expensive Ego was extraordinary to do the work in the time that he did and get the job done. Amazing Dream is an Auckland Cup winner. She's the best mare when she's at her top in this part of the world. She's going to add another dimension. You've got the exciting Spirit of St. Louis as well. Haven't looked forward to a race as much as I have this one for quite some time. As Rob says, barrier draw important, particularly for the likes of Expensive Ego. Copy That. We know Amazing Dream will get barrier 3. Spirit of St. Louis will need a decent barrier draw as well. So, yeah, I think they've really struck a winner with this race. Just quickly back from a Victorian point of view at Albion Park, wasn't it fantastic to see Pink Galaz back to her explosive best on Saturday night?
Well, it was a big drop in class for her, and she missed the start a little bit, but she always travelled like the winner, and she's getting fitter as her preparation goes on. Just a quick one, Adam, and then I'll go to Robbie with this question. Krug, I think his worst nightmare if Kowalski Analysis draws the front line, because he might get crossed at the start and then has to come off the fence and then like really burn out off the gate if that Victorian draws the front row. Would that be a concern if you've taken the short odds there with the New Zealand 3-year-old, Adam? Yeah, obviously. He's really fast out though, Krug. Maybe Kowalski Analysis could potentially get him if there was a big gap between them. But, you know, don't forget, if you go back a bit, Krug was lasting out from barriers 5 and 6 and leading easily at Addington. So I think he's got a stack of gate speed. But, yeah, that would potentially add a little bit more interest to it. And you know, the likes of Expensive Ego and Copy That, well, they're going to need pressure on Krug early, aren't they? I think the biggest question comes if, as expected by most, Krug is the early leader. Yep. The big question comes when 2 or 3 of the real big guns come looking in the early stages of the race, where the Krug wants to hand up to another one of the big guns. I talked to Crandall Getty. He will not be handing up if he finds the front under no circumstances. They'll drive him like they stole him, he said. Adam Hamilton, Robbie Orber with you, along with Gareth Hall for Gate Speed. Robbie Orber, your early tip before the barrier draw for the Rising Sun.
Oh, I can't jump off Expensive Ego, but very much like Adam, you know, as far as an anticipation race, I don't think we've seen anything more exciting for quite a while in harness racing. I mean, this is a high-quality group of very, very talented horses in all different age groups. There's 3-year-olds, the mares, the seasoned 4-year-olds. It looks to be a fantastic race, and I can't wait for it.
And you must be impressed. I'm impressed by what Queensland Harness Racing's doing, Robbie, thinking outside the square, delivering a new race that just proves to everybody out there, if you do think outside the square, you can build wonderful momentum for that sport. the sport of harness racing. The trot rods, turnover was up. I like the idea, something a little bit different. Driver colours, so they're having a fair dinkum crack up there in Queensland, and especially the coverage with all the different shots, driver's cam, the footage from above as well is superb for mine.
Oh, look, I think, again, it's about trying to connect with a new audience and trying to brand your industry, overall, but at the same time come up with innovative ways of promoting it. And, media coverage is vital, and we're seeing Queensland leading the way in so many different aspects. Their vision that they're actually displaying on television and on Sky Channel has been first class. They're previewing the way they're promoting it, as you said, whether it's the Hot Rod series, which, again, it's about new innovative ways, and doesn't mean it stays there from a permanent basis 52 weeks of the year. It's just little pockets of different innovations, and they're doing a great job. I congratulate everyone involved. Outstanding.
And Adam, you've been in this sport for a long time, and I think it makes you proud and gets you up and about when you see what Queensland has been doing for the sport of harness racing.
Yeah, look, very true. Look, there's a lot of great work being done all around Australia. But, Queensland's got this sweet spot, and I think this is going to become an absolute destination carnival if it hasn't already. The weather suits them this time of year, and they've built, some terrific racing as well. So, look, I was supposed to be going up Saturday night. I almost certainly won't be going. I can get there, but getting home under the current travel restrictions is going to be challenging. But very much hoping it's different, so a few of us can get up to that Black to Fake meeting on the 24th, Gareth.
So who are you tipping before the barrier draw, Adam?
Oh, look, I'm with Expensive Ego, but fair to say 2 weeks ago I was a lot confident than I am with him. He's done nothing wrong, but Copy that's proven that he's back to his best, and Krug has proven that he's not just a really good 3-year-old, he's a champion 3-year-old, and he's got this great barrier draw. So, but I am with Expensive Ego still.
Can't wait for that. Bendigo hosted the first of 4 regional metropolitan meetings in this state, Robbie. I haven't seen the turnover figures just yet, but how did you think it went there at Bendigo on Saturday night? And do you think this could be a permanent fixture for the month of July to have regional centres host metropolitan meetings?
Look, I don't see there being a problem having some metropolitan regional race meetings. Not at all, especially, this time of year, and even, around certain major clashes of events that may happen throughout the day, such as Grand Final Day. I mean, I'm still a bit of a believer, from a Melbourne Cup point of view. There's probably 2 Saturday nights there. I know, people would argue turnover, but, again, it's about showcasing some great racing in regional areas, and it gives people locally an opportunity as well to enjoy those quality horses. So I don't have a problem with it. It's just got to be measured, and it's just got to be, I suppose, scheduled at the right times of the year when to do it.
Adam, what did you think there of Saturday night at Bendigo, and especially Western Sonador? He had his doubters, you could say, including mine. I thought he was too short at $2. He got out to $2.70, and he beat a handy horse, but no superstar in Torrid Saint by a neck. Do you think that he might be able to take the next step this preparation?
I think it's terrific to see him back, and you've got to listen to Beck Bartley and Steve O'Donoghue, having had San Carlo, if they can draw a comparison between the two. I think he's got the raw potential. The door's open in our open class ranks with, Lochinvar Art and Ride High sidelined indefinitely at this stage. And, Western Sonador's one of those knocking on the door. Wolf Stride will be back in about a month. A horse like Max Delight, I believe he's actually going up to Sydney to take advantage of the fact that Luke McCarthy and his team are away, Max Delight, for a few of those free-for-alls. But he's right up there with our best free-for-allers as well. Am I a Western Sonador believer? I certainly think he's got the potential and he's heading in the right direction, but he's still absolutely got another big step to take yet.
Yeah, I totally agree. Geez, I was impressed, Adam, with Bondi Lockdown. I think he's heading up to Queensland and having a crack at a Queensland derby, and if he's drawn to lead in a race like that, even with Krug in a race, I think he would give them something to catch.
He's been a work in progress, hasn't he? He had that breakthrough win, which was just explosive. They ran 26 flat the last quarter when he ran over the top of, it's got to be said, a then underdone Pat's Beach Storm. Then he was in the wilderness. He wasn't going badly, but he was back racing a little waywardly. He had some bad draws like South Australian Derby and things like that. But that was the best version of Bondi Lockdown we saw again, and that's a great sign. You would be taking him to Queensland now. Oh, can he beat a Krug? On what I saw at Redcliffe,
if he draws the lead, I think he's a chance. In fact, I would back him to beat Krug if he just drives him like he did, just aggressively, Aaron, on a night around Albion Park. I think he would give Krug something to think about.
And this is what the Derby needs. We don't want it to be a one-act affair for Krug, and obviously it won't be. But, good on Aaron for taking him up. I know there was a bit of speculation about, and Aaron actually might have spoken to them a few weeks ago about the Rising Sun with Bondi Lockdown, but just where he's at, being a bit raw at this stage, I think he's better going to the Derby and building from there into the big races later in the season.
And I like there was a gear change, or I think he took the spreaders off, Robbie, and just had the flat hobbles there on Saturday night, and you could see him just pace a lot better. And he showed more dash out of the mobile as well.
It was a top win. He was there to be beaten. He went a mile road at 1:56.9. Again, a piece of Lou and Agility Dynamite, all lovely horses, but Bondi Lockdown, he's certainly, giving us the indication he can continue to make, really big headways against the big boys. So, as you mentioned, Adam, for Aaron to make that commitment to go to Queensland, it's a real credit. It's a big ask, and certainly when you've got Krug sitting there waiting for you. But look, well done to him, and we wish him well.
Jimmy the Irishman, Robbie, he just keeps on winning.
Yeah, great drive. Wow, that was a terrific drive by Zach. Zach Phillips, he was back on the pegs. An opening opened up for him down the back straight, and you could see him winding up. He wasn't an expensive purchase, but he certainly repaid his owners plenty of times over now. And, with that turn of speed that he has, he looks to be a horse that will be continuing to win races at higher levels. And, looking forward to watching his pathway. I thought the run of I'm No Pumpkin, a couple of runs back from the spell, pretty much indicates that horse isn't far off the win.
I thought Zach Phillips, Adam, was home and hosed with the drive of the night until Glenn Douglas produced one of his very best with Toby O'Gara in the last.
Yeah, he did. The Douglas team is just winning races left, right and centre, and not always with favourites at the moment. And, yeah, that was a lovely drive. Just quickly back to the Jimmy the Irishman race. Great signs with Barroon Banter. That was a much, much better run. He was driven with confidence. The times were off the charts, and he was only nabbed in the final stages. You've got to think with that run under his belt, Barroon Banter, he's going to be just about back to his best and winning wherever he turns up next time.
Love the drive from Taylor French with Brownlow Prince back in class, drove that trotter like the best in the race, and Van Danta just continues to step up and race well.
Robbie's horse.
Yeah, Robbie, $5. That was generous.
Yeah, no, it was. It was very generous. Hey, Adam Hamilton, what about the plunge on Friday night? Captain Wilson, what was the go there? I saw your name in the ownership of that horse.
Oh, well, I don't know about a plunge. Yeah, look, I definitely had something on him. I mean, look, I always back my own horses when they're big odds anyway, but I must admit, the heart started to just flutter a little bit when he cut loose down the back straight. It's just terrific to see him go to the races, show a bit of the potential that I know Pete Thompson thinks he's got. Look, he's not a star, but he looks like he's going to win a few races for us, and we'll have some fun, and that's what the game's all about.
Must have lost my number then Friday night, Adam.
You lost mine too. I was watching the clock just continuing to drop, and I'm thinking to myself, I even said to Dan Malecki, have we missed something here, Dan? He goes, I think so. Hey, terrific run. No, great run. He'll be winning.
Gate speed with Gareth Hill, Robbie Orber and Dan Malecki, and the great Brian Gass celebrates his, I think it's 77. He's 77 today, Robbie.
He's a legend. We continue to sing his praises because he is a legend of the sport. He's driving, nearly as good as he ever has. He's got some nice horses that he's been steering lately in Illawong Stardust, the nephew of Sunoco, and we wish him a very happy birthday on behalf of everyone that knows him in the harness racing world. And even if the people that don't know him, I think they'll be looking afar and saying, what an amazing man.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, really, Adam, when you think about it, what he's able to do at his age. And, he celebrates another birthday today.
Yeah, happy birthday to the little master, or little B as they call him. He's been such a wonderful contributor to the sport, and as we chatted about last week, he's still got all of the nous and the little tricks up his sleeve to be beating some of the young bucks that are going round at the moment. And yeah, you touched on Ricky May. What a moment for him. I mean, 18 months ago, people feared Ricky had lost his life with that freakish incident where he had the heart issue and just slumped back in the sulky. And we never thought we'd see him back at the races again, but he's back, and he's bringing up a milestone that only two other New Zealand drivers have done, I believe, the 3,000 career wins. And I know Chris Albert's driven over 7,000, but, we know, guys, that New Zealand has only about 30% of the races that Aussie have.
Yeah, Ricky Miles, I was in New Zealand during that summer when he fell off. I forgot the horse's name. It won a Ballarat Cup. But, it was scary for everybody involved watching what was developing there on social media. But it's astonishing that he's back driving and driving winners. So he is a legend of the sport. Thanks for that, lads. Can't wait for this Saturday night.